Hey everybody, what's up? This is Callie with the Board Buds, and today I'm going to do a teach of Bullet by Level 99 Games. This is a shmup-inspired puzzle board game for 1 to 4 players, where each player will get to choose a unique heroine and try to survive under the strenuous time limit. So without further ado, let's get into the setup. So Bullet comes with a number of heroines depending on which edition that you bought, or any expansions that you have. And the first thing that you're going to want to do is have everybody go and choose which heroine they want to be. So each heroine has a heroine page and their actions page. And once you choose, you'll want to make sure that you have the corresponding ones with the name in the bottom right and top left, and place them to the left and right, and take a site and put it in the middle. The site will be the same for all players. You're going to want to make sure that your heroine is on the heroine side and not on the boss side, which you can tell by the warning signs and different art here. So you're going to place that left and right. Next, everybody will take an action marker and put it on the 7 on their action space. Then every heroine has their own deck of cards, or patterns as they're called. You're going to want to get the pattern for your heroine, which you can tell from the matching art, and the name will be in the bottom right corner of each pattern. And make sure to discard any of the boss patterns to the box, as they won't be needed for the multiplayer mode. Taking your pattern, you're going to want to shuffle it a few times. And then every heroine by default will deal 3 face up in front of them. At this time, you might want to check if your heroine has any special setup powers or additional components, such as dice or additional tokens that they may need. In my case, Esper Volkova has a hand size of 4, so I can actually draw an additional card. Set the rest of your deck face up somewhere in reach. You will need it later. Now, once everybody has chosen their characters and placed their boards and action tokens, you're going to grab the intensity track and place it somewhere everybody can see. Take the intensity marker and place it on the 4 symbol. Everybody will then take a black bag. This is their current bag. And you'll also take the bag of white tokens and put it in the center where everybody can reach. Give it a mix up and have everybody draw 10 tokens at random and place them into their current. Once everybody's done that, you're ready to get started. So Bullet is played through a number of rounds where each player will play simultaneously and perform a number of actions. The goal of the game is to clear bullets that come down your sight before they get down into your life. Once you take too much damage, you will be defeated and out of the game, and whoever is the last heroine standing wins. So, Bullet is played with a timer normally, and what you're going to want to do is find either a phone, or you can actually go to the Level 99 website, and they have 3-minute songs that will play for each character. And you can use these in order to time your games. If you don't feel comfortable with the high speed on your first game, feel free to ignore the timer. However, you're going to want to, if you want to play with the timer, you're going to want to have one available that everybody can see and hear, and set it to 3 minutes. When you're ready to start the round, everybody grabs their current bag, and then you start the timer. So during the round, there's a number of actions that you can take, with the main goal to empty your current bag without losing all of your life. So the main action that will happen in the game is you'll reach into your bag and grab 1 token and place it onto the board. Now, each token has a color with a symbol and a number on it. The color and symbol indicates which column that this bullet will go into, and the number indicates how far down the column it will go. So in this case, I've drawn a yellow 3. I'll find the yellow column and place it 3 empty spots down from the top. 1, 2, 3. Once you pull a bullet out of the bag, you must finish placing it on the board before taking any other actions. But after pulling out a bullet, you can pause to take some of the other actions that we'll talk about in a bit. But a few more rules related to bullet placement. Once you take more bullets out, you can continue placing them as the same rules as said. So this 1 will go 1 empty space down into the yellow column. The green, 1 empty space down in the green column. But eventually you will get a number in a column that's already partially filled. So in this case, I have a bullet in the 1 and 3 slots of this. So when I place this 3 yellow onto my board, I'm going to count the empty spaces and skip over existing bullets. So in this case, skip 1, skip 2, 3. So you can see the bullets will get farther and farther down to the bottom of the board as more bullets come out on your board. Eventually, if I pulled another token and the board fills up, we'll say this was moved here. Other colors can get into other columns. We'll talk about that in a bit. But if I pull this 3 now, you'll see 1, 2, 3. I've hit the bottom of the board. And if this is the case, you take this and move it to the first available slot on your life bar, and you have lost a life. Now in this case I have 4 life, but as soon as I would hit the 4th slot, that would be game over for me. So you're probably wondering now, how do I get rid of bullets? Well, there's a few things that you can do to manipulate the bullets and remove them from your board. So first we're going to talk about the action track. In between placing bullets, you can take actions on your action board equal to the number of AP that you have. You have a number of built-in actions that are displayed here and different for each heroine. And most will manipulate where the bullets are or draw you more patterns to use to clear the bullets. So in this case, I have an ability that lets me move a bullet left, right, or down for 1 AP. Now, I might want to do this to rearrange the bullets on my board. Maybe I think there's too many in yellow and I want to move them out of this column because I'm in danger of getting damaged. I could pay the 1, and now I can move a single bullet left, right, or down. In this case, I can't move it down because there's another bullet, but you are allowed to chain a number of these together in order to bypass over filled slots. So if I wanted to move past these 2 bullets, I could pay 1, 2, 3, and move past. That is okay to do. You will notice there are some that let you potentially move bullets up towards the top of the board, but they tend to be more expensive. As well as, like I said, drawing a pattern. Now, there's also some other actions that you can take to help clear the board, which are your patterns that are face up. Like we said, each heroine will draw 3 normally, or 4 if you have S-Sphere. And these patterns dictate how you can clear bullets out of your sight. So each card itself has a number of requirements and a number of bullets that it clears. Now there is a handy reference card that you can keep by to let you know what each requirement may mean. But for this one, you'll see that we need to create some patterns. Each explosion symbol is a bullet that I can remove, and each circle is a bullet that needs to be there. So in this case, I would need to have an upwards triangle of bullets. So let's say I had moved it something like this, and then I could play this pattern and clear anything in the explosion marks around that pattern. So in this case, if I had something like this, I could play this card. I have fulfilled the requirements, and now these 2 bullets will be cleared. When clearing bullets, you always give them to the player seated to your left into their incoming. You'll see in the top right of your section, you have an incoming. That is the same as the player to the left, so I will give these 2 bullets to that player. For now, they will sit there until the end of the round, and we'll talk about later about where those bullets go. In the case that you've cleared a bullet that has a star pattern on it. You'll notice almost every heroine has a green action here, which is a passive. It says whenever they clear a star, you gain 1 action point. So performing that action, I had cleared 1 star, and I will raise my action by 1 when I clear that bullet. I then take this card and add it to my discard, and I do not draw anymore. I can continue either using those actions, playing these, or drawing more bullets and placing them on the board in whichever order I please. Just remember that when you take a bullet out of the bag, you must finish placing it before you can start taking more actions. So as the board fills up, you'll have to manage that risk of putting out more bullets. Now, there's one more thing we didn't talk about, and I missed in setup there, but there are green tiles that you will put out at the beginning of every round. You will put out a number of these equal to the number of players, so in this case 3. And there are ways to get this at the end of the round, but these tiles each have a specific power on them, such as swap 2 bullets in your sight. During the game, you will get these into your action slot. And during the action phase, you may use these as if they were an ability, discarding them when they're done. The way the round ends is after you've pulled all of the bullets out of your bag and placed them into the board. You can continue taking any actions until you've run out of patterns and action points. But once you have decided that you are done, you go ahead and select one of these green tiles, adding it to your tile area. If you are full, you are allowed to discard a tile to swap in a new one. And then once you've done that, you can wait for any other players to finish. If you are playing with the timer, once the timer runs out, if any player has not emptied their bag, they enter a mode where they can only remove bullets from their bag and take no other actions. So if you're being too slow and you still have action points left, when the timer runs out, I can no longer spend these, and instead I must just continue to pull out my bullets and place them until there are no more bullets in my bag. Then at that point, that player is also allowed to take one of the green tiles. Now we'll talk about victory in a bit, but as long as there are 2 heroines still alive, the players will continue to the next round. So at this point, a number of things happen. First, you will draw a number of tiles equal to the player still alive and place them out on the board in reach of everybody. Then each player will take any bullets that were placed into their incoming and place them into their current. So in this case, the player to my right sent me 4 bullets. So I will take those 4 bullets that they cleared and place them into my bag. Additionally, you'll look at the intensity track, which is now at 4. And I will take 4 bullets out random from the center and place them into my bag as well. So as the rounds go on, these will grow bigger and bigger and make it harder and harder to stay alive. After that, everybody takes their actions, sets it back to the maximum. All players will then draw back up to their hand size. So if you have any unused patterns, you keep those, but I would then draw back up to my main. In the event that I had more patterns than I could hold, you will discard down to have your hand size. Once that is all done and everybody's ready, you move on to the next round after increasing the intensity track by 1. Important thing to note, if there are any players who were also knocked out of that round, you will increase the intensity for 1 more for each player that was knocked out. And that's pretty much how each round is played of Bullet. So let's talk a little bit about how the game ends. So, as we said before, once bullets reach the bottom and go into your life, you'll start taking damage. And once you have filled up your bullets, you are out of the game. At this point, you will pause, do nothing more, leave everything in your current bag, and wait until any other players have finished their round. Once that is done, you'll check conditions. Like we said, as long as 2 players are still alive, they will continue playing the game. And at this point, you can clear your board and place them back into the center, as you have lost. You will also take any incoming bullets that you sent to the player to your left and put them into the center as well. Any bullets that were sent to your incoming will be sent instead to that player to your left, as if you no longer existed in the game. In the case that there's only 1 player left at the end of a round, congratulations, they win. However, it's going to be pretty often that all the remaining players will run out of life during the same round. So when that happens, that's the important part of keeping everything where it was on the board. So say I have things out and I died, and now we've reached the end of the round and the other 2 players have died as well. At this point, everybody will check how many that are left in their current. So in this case, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's say the player to my right had 10 left in their current, and the player to my left had 5 left in their current. Because the player to my left had the lowest number left still in their bag, that means they made it the farthest and they are declared the winner. In the event that 2 players are tied, you move into sudden death mode. You take any of the incoming from the player to your right, place them into your bag, and then each player at the same time will draw 1 bullet out of their bag, place it, and then continue to place 1 bullet from their bag, doing nothing else. If a player runs out of bullets in their bag, they then take bullets from the center. And as soon as a player takes a single hit, that player is out of the running for the sudden death. Once there are no players left in that sudden death mode, the final player left wins. However, if in the case both players run out of life at the same time, well, you've pretty much earned your tie and you call it a joint victory. So that's pretty much how to play Bullet. There is an additional cooperative mode that you can play using the boss sides of each player. Each heroine has a unique boss side. We won't talk about that today, but it is there if you want a more co-op experience with some of the same mechanics of placing bullets and using your patterns to clear. Otherwise, you know, feel free to change heroines, rotate how you play. This game supports up to 1 to 8 players if you have both of the base games, so you can even get all of your friends in on it. And that's it for Bullet. So let me know what you guys think, and if you're excited to play Bullet. There is a game found coming out for the new expansion, so please check it out. I think it's a really fun game and one of the more unique games that I've played. Until next time, this is the Board Buds.